that's the world we live in. You know, anywhere you look, you've just got some sugary, artificial drinks, and not only drinks, food surrounding us. It's really hard to find something that's actually nutritious, wholesome, anywhere you go, or organic. You know, it's a real challenge to shop for good quality stuff nowadays. I'm so grateful. Sometimes I think about it when I'm just driving around in that little van. Have you seen it?
Yeah. It's hard to miss. Let's put it this way.
Today's episode was brought to you with the support of our friends at Kyoto Restobar. From their izakaya dishes to the most delicious sushi in Jersey, Kyoto Restobar is the place you should have in mind for your next on-island Japanese experience. Whether you choose to dine in or order online, I promise that you won't be disappointed. And now, back to the episode.
Vivien, welcome to Hospitality Insights.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. So today we want to cover the distribution part of the kombucha business, and not that, kind of in general, because I feel like this will be interesting in area where we have quite a few businesses that operate both in Jersey and Guernsey. So I'm sure this is a challenge, in a way or another, being on two different islands, although they're not that far apart. Weather changes. We had storms, we had all sorts, for the past week. So yeah. I'm sure there is a challenging operation just from that perspective. And we also want to talk about your beginnings, how did you get here? Tell us about the beginning of, even prior to Ktea, because from what you told me, you worked in hospitality before. So obviously a hospitality podcast. So we want to kind of know a bit about that story.
Yeah, so I came here when I was 20 and I started working at L'Horizon. And I was there for 12 years at the end. So, wow. It was challenging in a way, when you're new to the whole thing. And if you can stick that period out, you can make and learn a lot of things. And I did. So it was great in that sense, because I started on the terrace and as a waitress, and then I became the supervisor and the manager, and then I moved to the events office, which was really great. It was a whole new experience after serving people, and I learned a whole new set of skills. And I was there for another 4 years. I think I did probably about 4 years in F&B in total, and then about 4 years in the events office, and that was great. It was a really good time. And then we bought the Grand, which was great. So then I moved to the Grand as a marketing exec. And it became a dual role. So I was working for both of the hotels. So altogether, I spent 12 years in hospitality.
Oh,
so
wow.
I think, I covered quite a few areas. And I just always feel like I've seen the global picture of what we as the group or as the hotel wanted to achieve. So it was a really good learning curve. And I think I bring a lot of experience from that to my current role. And then I did leave hospitality. So I went to work for an online supermarket after that. I was just doing marketing. And that's when I met Ktea. So I was looking for local products to sell. And this is when I came across Ktea Kombucha. And I met Kate and Chris when they came over to the Healthy Living Festival. That was, when was that? 2021, I think. And that's when they said that they are looking for a distributor for Jersey. And at that point, obviously, I didn't know how they operated and how they could sell anything in Jersey. But this is when I found out that they don't actually have anyone who would do that. And I never actually thought it would be me at that time, because when they told me about it, it just sounded really hype. Like they were looking for this salesperson who goes out there and sells their kombucha to everyone, and I was like, oh, I'm not a salesperson. I've never done really sales, like sales.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I could do that. But it kind of stuck with me. And we started selling their kombucha anyway. And then when I resigned from there, I just dropped them an email because I was like, I actually thought of that. I want to have another chat with them. So I did. And they came over to see me. And then I went over to see them. And I met the other guys in the brewery. And I helped them make a batch of the pico, I think. And it was Really
so
great.
that was introduced when you started.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Well, no. They were already brewing
Oh, so
that.
you
yeah.
held them,
But I just, so
understand
that's
the
what they
process.
were doing that day when I was there.
Oh.
And basically, I didn't really spend much time with Kate. I was straight in the brewery with the hairnet on and everything, and just, helping the guys doing.
But I think it's the best way, because then is when you understand, because you
Yeah.
can't really go and sell something
Yeah.
if you don't understand the product, right?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. and Danny and Haley, who are the guys who are doing most of the brewing and most of the hard work. I mean, they are so great and so knowledgeable. And we had the great few hours together, and we really clicked. I think we all felt that we really clicked. And then I came back home and we already agreed that I will be the one. So actually it's not that hype, I'm not doing hard sales because it's not hard, because I love the product from the beginning. And also, although at that time I was quite new to kombucha, but it's just part of me now. I mean, I drink it like water, seriously. So it's just a whole different lifestyle, and I really enjoy it. And it just doesn't feel like I'm doing a very hype job, but hopefully I'm doing a great job.
Well, this is it. I mean, I think it's a lot easier to sell something when you believe in the product as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why even for us here with the podcast, it came kind of like natural, because I have no problems in promoting these product or mentioning to someone, because I like it. I mean, I drink a lot because I keep ordering or I keep getting it from you. So I like it. My wife likes it, and then we believe in it. So I think that's the key in order to kind of succeed in the first place. So that must have been an easy decision for you when you tried, when you saw what's going on. So okay, so from there, then you took your role in distributing here in Jersey. What's the process? Is something that I want to kind of know behind the scenes. So let's say I get the phone, I go on kteakombucha.com and I order. What's the process? I guess the orders from Jersey, are they going automatically to Jersey, or you need to go to manually kind of like distribute them, whether it's Jersey or Guernsey, or how does it work behind the scenes?
No, so basically they ship pallets to me. So that's the physical side of it. But when you go online and you order your case, it doesn't really get emailed anywhere. I just go online, and every day I check the orders for Jersey and Guernsey. So it's a very simple process. And then I just print the packaging slips out, and then I do my route. I go and pick up the stock, and I do all the deliveries.
So I guess you pick up the Jersey ones and you kind of leave the Guernsey ones for whoever is doing in Guernsey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's how,
So I actually rarely speak to the guys there, because I just get on with it. I just go and look what I've got today. And then, of course, I do the distribution for the stockists here as well. So they will be sending me orders. If not, I will go and get them. So that's also part of my job. So I do a lot of things, because it's just me.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that's what was the behind the scenes is basically you from beginning to end.
It sounds like a lot. So if I tell you that I manage the stock, I do all the deliveries, the online deliveries, the stockist deliveries. I do a bit of social media, marketing, graphic design, tasting sessions, sales. All of this. It sounds like a lot, and it is in a way, but it's not that hype. It's just, I think it's all down to logic. Like, I do this because that's what we're doing, and that's what's good for the company. And there's a bit of everything every day, which is just perfect. And I do it like sort of just while my son is in school. So it's not a complete full-time occupation at this moment anyway.
Was there ever a talk to produce kombucha in Jersey? Yeah, I mean, it's something that I kind of forgot to ask Kate, because I can see the chat. Well, we will get right after, into the challenges and how it works, from when you order, whether it delays, whether, all that part, with the delivery and distribution. But then seeing this market here and even like going on the website, because you guys, you mentioned all the restaurants or the places where you can find kombucha, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
There are quite a few now in Jersey. So probably, arguably, more than in Guernsey.
Yes. Yeah, probably similar, or maybe just a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure. When you look at the website on your laptop, it will look like there's more. But when you look at the supermarkets, they are just listed slightly differently in Guernsey, because some of them will say All Island, for example. So there might be more stores. But anyway, we're catching up really quickly. Because after I joined them, which was June 2022, we went from 4 stockists. So we had the kombucha at Scoop and Down Dog and just a couple of other places, really. And we went to over 15 a year.
Oh, wow.
So that's a big growth. And obviously we had to produce that much more as well in Guernsey. But yes, so we did have talks about opening a brewery here and brewing for Jersey here in Jersey, which would kind of make sense, once we reach that sort of quantity. And I think we sort of did that. But I'm not sure what Kate thinks, but, they worked so hard setting up their brewery and all the things you have to do for it to set it up, all the health and safety and all of these things. I'm not sure if it's really worth doing another one when we have a big enough brewery to grow enough to be able to supply both of the islands at the moment.
But do you think there is or was there a talk, to kind of like expand on the brewery that already is in Guernsey? Because obviously, at this point you produce, let's say, a certain amount, but then the more businesses you bring in, the more, let's say, supermarket, restaurants, and so on, the more the capacity needs to be increased. So is it coping as okay at this point, or there is already a thinking about, we kind of growing here like crazy, let's expand?
We're coping okay as it is, because just before I started, they moved to a bigger place. So they've already upscaled enough to be able to produce 3 times what we were producing at that time. So I think we're probably nearing the end of that. And I'm not sure we would need another brewery for the Channel Islands, to be honest, because it is still an acquired taste. And I'm not sure that we would need that quantity or that amount to be produced. But once we get into the UK, that's a whole different story. And I do think that we will need another brewery in the UK.
How is that going? Is that progressing? I know Kate was saying somewhere next year, kind of beginning spring.
Yeah, spring.
It's not far away.
It's not. I don't know anything more about it, to be honest, at the moment, but we're excited for it. Yeah, it's definitely a big thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I'm kind of curious how the big bottle is going to work, for the hospitality industry, because I think it does make sense. But, the same as you share a bottle of wine, if let's say you decide, I just want a non-alcoholic evening, why not? Let's just get a kombucha. And I'm sure it will be cheaper than, well, I don't know yet, obviously depending on what the price is going to be, but it's still not going to be like a bottle of wine, like 40 or 35 or something like that. I mean, it all depends how much more they add to it in the restaurant, but it's going to be a lot more reasonable. Okay, so that part we know now. Okay, plan to expand, business is doing well, which is amazing. I mean, there's definitely, a lot to say that you've done a lot for awareness here in Jersey, because I know you go to all these, you were at Grand Marché the other day, you go into all these like non-alcoholic events, or even alcoholic, if people want to mix it with alcohol, I guess that's good as well. So there is quite a lot of awareness. But then in terms of bringing it from Guernsey, what are your challenges and what is the process?
Do you mean shipping wise?
Shipping wise, yeah.
I mean, obviously the biggest challenge is the weather, but mainly in the winter. So it does happen that rarely I would be very low on 1 or 2 flavors just because the ferry doesn't get here in time and I need to wait an extra day. Well, luckily it doesn't happen very often. So, but apart from that, it's not a challenge. I mean, I think they ship once a week or twice a week sometimes. So it's quite straightforward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So in case it's not like, oh, if I forgot to place my order at the beginning of the week, this is it, So you've got, I guess, a bigger fridge here in Jersey where you store them, right?
Yeah. So we have a storage unit in a big storage facility. And that's where we've got a big storage room, a walk-in fridge room. And that's where I store the stock. Yeah. So it just comes to me, but we do have to be a little bit proactive. So if I wanted a pallet this week, I need to tell them on Monday so they can prepare it, book it, because then Ferris Speed comes to pick it up on the Wednesday and they will ship it probably the same day or the following morning, and then they will get it to me on the Thursday. So, we need to think a few days ahead, but not like when you order from the UK, because then you have to think probably 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah, so these are a lot more situations. I guess I can only imagine, like suppliers, let's say meat suppliers and everything else. They need to, I know when I used to work in hospitality myself, it used to be like ordering your turkey months in advance, kind of pre-ordering it, not necessarily ordering it, but just making sure that the stock is there.
I mean, I remember when I worked for the supermarket as well, and then we started, we were ordering anyway, but we started working for another company. And then we had to order 2 weeks ahead, which was really difficult to plan.
Yeah.
For all the different, thousands of different products and fresh produce as well. It's really difficult to plan. But luckily we don't have issues like that. It's just, we only have 5 products, so it's quite easy. So whatever I have on the Monday, that's what they need to prepare, whatever I'm missing.
But do you get arguments in terms of taste? Because we both know that it's got a specific taste, right? I mean, this is not your regular Coke. It's not your regular Sprite or whatever, or Fanta. So we were talking just before that I feel like for the younger generation, even like a lot younger than us, or, it feels like they need that extra sugar. So probably for them, they might not like the taste from that point of view. Because if, let's say, you're going to throw another 2 tablespoons of sugar in there, they would be more than happy. But then that will deteriorate the drink and what you kind of stand for, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's, again, probably a challenge. I don't know whether just the younger generation, I kind of observed this myself, but probably in general, people that are towards a sweet tooth, I would say, that might not like. I'm just guessing here.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. That's generally the situation. I mean, I do all of the tastings here in Jersey, obviously. So I've met a lot of people and I've received a lot of different reactions as well. But generally, the reaction is, wow, what is this? This is great. And I love it, because I actually find a lot more people that love it than who
hate it.
Not hate it, but they're like, oof, this is a bit sharp. Or what is
it
this?
might not be for me, kind of thing.
Or some people will say it tastes like vinegar, which it doesn't, obviously. But those are the people who will probably consume a lot of sugary drinks or sugar on a general basis, like in their foods, sweets and all of that. And they will definitely not like it. But with the younger generation, it's a mix. It's a real mix, I have to say. I mean, I was on the boat show this year, and I was placed between the candy floss and the donut guy.
So you were the unsweet stand between the sweets.
It wasn't the best placement, really, with our ethos and what we stand for. And I had this lovely food from Wild Health Jersey, Gemma. So she makes everything without unrefined sugar and without sugar, in fact, and with raw things, and she's like good stuff that really goes well with kombucha and what we want to do. So it was a poor placement, but we still got all of the children to try the KT before they got their candy floss, and they came up and got their parents to buy some for them.
Wow.
They loved
them. That says a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you should have seen them. They were so cute. All of these little ones trying all of the 5 flavors, and none of them flinched. They were all like, oh, this is nice. Yes. And honestly, I mean, we had to go out into the crowd and offer tasting and stuff, and then got them to try the other ones. And it was quite amazing. And I love that. It is safe for children, just saying, because it's low in caffeine and obviously low in sugar. But that's why it's great to see that they like it, because it starts with them to change the future generations. Because that's the world we live in. You know, anywhere you look, you've just got some sugary, artificial drinks, and not only drinks, food surrounding us. It's really hard to find something that's actually nutritious, wholesome, anywhere you go, or organic. You know, it's a real challenge to shop for good quality stuff nowadays. So actually, all of these children put the best thing in their bodies that day by drinking a bit of KT. It's the best thing they could put in their bodies. And it's the same for everyone nowadays. And there's nothing else in the supermarket or anywhere else. Obviously, some homemade stuff and things like that, but not as good as this, you know, because KT and good quality raw kombucha are just so great. And that's why we're not sweet, because too much sugar is not great for the gut health. So
yeah, I guess
it wouldn't be a great balance. Yeah.
You're right. But then do you have arguments? Because one thing that, you know, by posting whatever we done with Kate on social, someone was saying, why you don't mention that it's got a lot of caffeine? And I'm like, sure it doesn't. I mean, no, in comparison to, at least to what I was calculating, you know, based on how much a coffee has, because I don't drink coffee, for example. So I was like, interesting. Let me check.
Do you drink tea? Caffeinated tea?
Yeah. A green tea, I know it has a lot of it, but I don't think it's that much comparison. Or from what I'm getting, it's not that much.
No.
And the same with the alcohol. Do you have parents, let's say, of the children? It's like, oh, I would like to buy you this, but it's got traces of alcohol. Do you have people saying, I can't get it because of that? Is that an argument?
There might be, but I've never come across that. So the trace amounts of alcohol is only as much as a non-alcoholic beer or less. And the caffeine is just as much as in a decaf coffee, because the SCOBY, the yeast bacteria that it's made with, feeds on both the sugar and the caffeine. So it's naturally low in caffeine by the end. So of course, like, don't give your children maybe full bottles if you're concerned, but you know, half a bottle every now and then, it can really benefit them.
I'm sure we'll do better than Coke.
Yeah, definitely. And because KT is low fermented for 5 weeks, that allows it time for other vitamins and minerals to build up in it. So it's a great source of vitamin, actually. So it's high in antioxidants because obviously it's tea, low in caffeine, low in sugar, but it's full of vitamin B, iron and other minerals. I mean, it really is a great alternative to even an energy drink.
Yeah.
Because they put all of this in artificially into the energy drinks.
And it's got a lot of sugar, the energy drink, yeah. But when you go to these tasting events, do you see like one being more popular than the other? Do you see any of that? I mean, we were talking with Kate, you know, in the previous episodes, talking about the flavor being quite subtle. So in a way, there's not huge differences between one and another. But do you see someone favoring one than the other? Is that something you see? Or there's not really a big difference between them?
It depends on the person and the person's own taste, really. So people always ask me which one is the best-selling flavor, or which one is your favorite, or which one's the favorite. And I just can't say, because I might like this one the most, but you might not. So that's why it's great for me to do tasting events, and it's important because people get to try all three. Like the other day, I met this lady at the tasting, and she said, "Oh, I've tried it already, and I just wasn't that keen." And I was like, but luckily she was open enough to stop and chat with me, because I want this feedback, obviously. And I said, "Oh, but which one did you try? Do you remember?" And then she said she tried the Africa, which is definitely our signature flavor, but it's a very acquired taste. So it's a herby one. It's, it's quite tangy, quite sharp for some people. And I managed to get her to try the other two I had there. And then she absolutely loved the other two. So it was great that she had an open mind to still try it. So that's why if you see that I'm doing any tasting, and you're new to kombucha, please come down and try it, because you might get blown away, really.
How do you plan these? Do you just, whenever you have availability, you're like, I'm going to be there because now we have a bit of a time for it? Or how does it work in terms of planning?
I guess it changes as well a little bit. So I just got in the habit of doing one a month at Grand Marché in St. Helier. Because I just feel like that needs a little bit more push, because it's a big supermarket.
They do sell it there, right?
They do, yeah.
But then, again, among a huge place like that, it gets kind of lost, right?
Yeah, they have obviously thousands and thousands of products. So we do get a bit lost in there. But, altogether, there's 10 co-ops that are selling our products, and the smaller ones are doing better with the sales.
I mean, the one next to us here, I get quite often when I run out, I just get a few bottles quickly, because I know they're always in stock.
Yeah. So the smaller ones just tend to do a bit better, and I think it's just because it's more visible. There's less products, and it's easily found in the shop. And then I do, we do the boat show. We'll be at the boat show again next year. I generally do markets at Scoop, the Sustainable Cooperative at St. Lawrence. So hopefully there will be a Christmas market there, which I will do. But just because it's only me, I find it difficult to be everywhere. I could be at every market and every parish hall market and stuff like that. But it's difficult, especially with business that picked up so much since I started. I have to balance it, because then if I'm doing a market, like if it was during the week on a Friday, I couldn't do my deliveries. So I would be backlogged.
Yeah.
So I have to kind of balance it out and just find the right ones to do.
Is there a plan of expanding the team locally? Because now it seems like you're getting to a point where, well, how do I split myself in that many places?
Yeah.
Was there ever a talk about that, kind of like growing up locally here in Jersey?
Definitely. I think comes the next summer season, I will definitely need someone a bit more intensely. So I have a friend who helped me this past summer, especially when I was away. And she would have done deliveries on a Thursday, so that would free up my time to do some admin and other things and some chases. But yeah, so I'm not sure if she's going to be able to do that again next summer. I hope she will. But if not, then I will definitely be on the lookout for someone else. Yeah.
Even if it's like a seasonal person, right? Because summer is probably the busiest, one of the busiest times.
It's
cold drink.
It's definitely busier. I mean, June. Do you remember June? June was so hot the whole month. Do you remember? It was lovely, obviously, but everyone was going crazy for kombucha. I mean, people were calling me on the weekend. Can you bring me 3 cases today? Like, for home delivery, not even in a restaurant.
The home delivery is quite popular too. I mean, I know that's how I kind of started ordering at home, and I do like the mixed because I want to kind of be surprised whenever I pick up something from the fridge. I do like that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I never thought about ordering one specific. I just like the mix. Is that what you see in general?
Yeah.
People ordering mix?
Yeah, definitely. So generally people like that. I wanted to say, when we were talking about the flavors and how they, and you just said how they all taste kind of similar. And they might do, when the first time when you try them and the first few times you have them, but the more you have them, your taste becomes a bit more sophisticated.
And you can recognize the difference.
Yeah, so you can definitely then start seeing and tasting the difference between them. And obviously 4 of them are green tea, and until the first fermentation, they are all just green tea fermenting, and then we
flavor them after.
Yeah, flavor them with botanicals, and then they just slightly change the flavor, I guess, in a way. But yeah, so definitely after a while you can definitely taste the difference. But that's the trend. The mixed case for home deliveries is definitely the one.
Do you have a lot of people because I know you have the option of, which I thought about doing, of subscribing and for I don't know how many months, it's like 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
You have people doing that?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah. Well, that's great because that is predictable, right? That's what the business needs. Kind of like knowing how to, in advance in a way that in next year you're going to do that many. That's 100, it's 100%, right? So that I guess helps a lot the business having that predictability.
Yeah, definitely. And we always get new subscribers, and that's great. I mean, it makes me really happy when I see a whole new name, a brand new person who haven't ordered from us before, and they start with a subscription. So that probably means they've tried it somewhere or bought it in one of our
or someone recommended it to.
Yeah. So there's a mixture of people who would be ordering. Some will be consuming it for the health benefits, and for them 1 case a month is not enough. So we can always change it at the back of the website and change it to 2 weekly, 3 weekly. So there's always that option. So we're trying to be really flexible. And then at the moment, you can only pay with PayPal on the website. But I'm just mentioning this because we're working on a new payment merchant. So that will be added to the website. So it will eliminate any problems with PayPal at the moment, because there's lots of people who might not
PayPal.
using it, or might have had an account ages ago and it will not give them the option to pay with card if you're using the same email address. So that's the issue that we've been sort of facing. But luckily, loads of people actually do reach out to us, and in that case, we can just take payment with a different method and just create the order manually. So we do that. So we try to be really flexible. But anyway, so we're going to get a new payment merchant in it so everyone can pay by card. So hopefully that will be quite soon. And then we'll get a whole new design as well.
To design on the website, we're talking. Oh, nice. Yeah. I think your website looks quite nice and clean. I do like it.
We just want to update them a little bit. So the pictures will be more like, Katie served in a glass and being poured, like nice professional images, rather than the bottles only. When you go and look at the products.
Yeah, and I guess it's probably the right time, because if you're gonna open in the UK as well, it's probably the right time to do the rebranding a bit.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to go quite heavy on as well is just putting it in front of people that you can actually do more with kombucha other than drinking it on its own. You can use it as a mixer in your mocktail, in your cocktail. Mix it with a bit of juice. If it's a bit too sour for you, or if it's not sweet enough, obviously not don't make it too sweet, because that defeats the whole purpose. But there's ways of drinking it differently.
Where do you deliver in terms of bars? Do you deliver to bars that mix it in drinks that you are aware of at least, or just to places where they sell it on its own?
I would say this is the biggest challenge I face, because when I approach these businesses, I try not to go too heavy on the health benefits and how it's a healthy drink.
Because probably they don't really care much, because they mix it with
exactly
all sorts.
I obviously mentioned that it's local and it's it's good for you and it's all natural and all that stuff. But I try not to overload them with this sort of information, and I just want to go down on the route of a non-alcoholic option. And a mixer. But they are just so set in their ways. They don't really want to experiment with new cocktails, which really surprises me, because I mean, from my experience, we would always have had some special cocktail on, apart from the actual cocktail menu. We would have always had some mocktail or cocktail on the tables, on a table talker, something special, something different. And if they would just open up and try it, I think they would find that it's a really good mixer, because it's that tanginess. It's, you mix it with a bit of juice, obviously. It will bring a whole new flavor to any cocktails. So we actually started sharing cocktail and mocktail recipes on our Instagram and Facebook pages.
Just to encourage, basically.
Yeah. Just really want people to see them and think, oh, we could actually use that.
Well, I think you did it in a newsletter as well,
Yeah.
which is great, because if you're buying at home, I mean, to a degree, you could mix it, and probably not as a professional barman, but you still get some sort of mixture and experiment with it.
Yeah.
I think it would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated, honestly. And just the other week, we did just a little collaboration with Channel Islands Liqueur Company for Sally Weeks' art exhibition, and so they made a lovely cherry rum with smoked cherry wood, and that went really well with the pico. And we didn't have to put anything else in it, just the rum and the pico. So yes, it was a little bit tangy. It wasn't sweet like it would be with ginger ale or anything else, and just an orange peel. And it was lovely. It's so simple. It's really simple.
I think it's also the issue is, I mean, we have these across hospitality sector altogether. You don't really have people, well, you do and you don't. Because like I had, for example, like a while back, Svet, one of the bartenders here, he's like highly qualified and so on. And he's quite passionate about it. But there are not many people at that level, I think, and that's even across chefs, across managers and everything else. And I think, we've been doing, I don't know which, like, I can't remember, because I don't really drink cocktails, whatever, margaritas, for example, for ages. Yeah, we don't need anything else. We just go with that, this, and this.
It's the easy option.
Exactly. Well, this is it. Yeah, because when you're passionate about it, you need to, and you also put a bit of work. You need to kind of like taste, see what it works, how we combine them. It's a bit of an effort. Change the menu.
Yeah.
So I guess people are there in some situations. I'm not saying all the time, because it's something that we constantly talk on the podcast. The de-skilling of the industry, where you get people that are not there for the passion, are more for the money, and they don't really care that much. But again, that's not to generalize, because there are some people that are really into it.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just finding those people, which
It's
are not
hard.
many.
Yeah, it's really challenging. It is really challenging. And I know what you mean. It's really hard to find people like that, and to push people to step out their zone and do something different. But actually, now thinking about it, the only place that does something with our kombuchas is the Longwell Manor.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Diego is great, and he loves experimenting. And every time I go in, he will make me one, whatever he's got on then. But he truly takes the time to experiment. And, they make their own like elderflower syrup and mint syrup and, grown in the garden. So it's a really nice collaboration as well. So he's always got it on like little table talkers in the lounge.
Well, this is it. You need to get people that are passionate, and are not many. Yeah, this is the problem. When you get someone that really want to experiment and loves local and wants to, to try different things, I guess. I guess that's the secret. But again, we are kind of in low numbers with people like that. So that doesn't help.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to find people who have that sort of work moral, that they want to be the best in what they do. They want to perform well and enjoy it. And I've always been like that. So and because I'm like that, I rarely say no. Like, obviously that was really difficult at the beginning of my career in like the hotel, obviously, when you have to do loads of little things and then you can't say no really, and then you kind of grow out of it. But it is really hard to find people who actually care about what they do and they want to do it well. And I think that's a struggle in every business.
No, I agree. And yeah, you're right. It's not just, I mean, we talk hospitality here, but that comes almost across the board. It's really difficult. And, when you're in just for the money, I guess is a complicated situation, because you don't put that much effort into it. And yeah, totally. But then what I want to kind of like touch back, because it's interesting. I was gonna do a podcast with someone that work in the hospitality, but it's not anymore. I mean, you kind of still are as a supplier in a way, because that's how I see it. But you're not like what you used to do before. That's long gone, right? What made you kind of like change? Do you remember what kind of made you change from what you were doing? Because I left. I mean, I know my reasons. Obviously, if you have a family, it's complicated in hospitality. We all know it.
Yeah.
If, let's say, you want a Saturday night off, good luck with that. I mean, depending on which part of the sector you're working, again, complicated. So there were a few things from that perspective. And especially for me, my wife working as an accountant, it was, I knew that we're going to be always on the opposite sides.
Yeah. You could never spend time together, right?
Exactly.
Because you're cooking every night.
Well, this is it. Yeah. So it was a bit of I could say a sacrifice from my side, because I always wanted to be a chef. But at the same time, I do like what I'm doing. So it's not like I'm not crying for myself at all. That's absolutely fine. I actually love what I'm doing. But at the time, I thought that it's really, really challenging, making that decision. How did you feel it? What made you kind of like move from what you were doing to now, or looking for other alternatives?
Well, to be honest, I always sort of wanted to leave hospitality. I mean, I did enjoy my time there. I did. I think I definitely wanted to leave F&B at the beginning. I did have a great time. I did really enjoy interacting with people. I think that's the part I really enjoyed about, serving people, working in the bar, working in the restaurant, is that connection with people and the regular guests. That was really the most enjoyable part. But all the split shifts, all these hours, I mean, it was just crazy. And for me as a woman, it really wasn't something I wanted to carry on for the rest of my life. So that's why I wanted to go up to the events office, which I did. So that was very different. That was great. I still had the odd Saturday, obviously, when there was a wedding on, or, a big event where I had to be there and host the event, and meet and greet the bride and groom, and just make sure everything is set
but
up.
It was a bit more manageable, I guess, compared to the...
Yeah, definitely more livable. And I guess, that was a really good learning curve for me, and I learned a lot. So I did enjoy my time in events and in marketing after that. But then I had a child, so I went on maternity, and then I didn't go back. So
yeah, that changes a lot, because that it's going to be even more complicated from there on.
And at that time, you could only take 4 months off on maternity.
Oh.
Now it's changed to a year, but 4 months. I mean, I wasn't going to really leave my child in the nursery at 4 months.
So that was the end of the line, and then that made you kind of like switch.
Yeah, I did go back a little bit just as an admin to the revenue office after my son was about a year and a half, and then he was ready for nursery then. But that was quite great, because I knew what I needed to do. I worked there before, and I was just helping out. I was doing the morning reports and all of the bookings from Expedia and Booking.com and whatever I needed to do, 4 hours a day, and I was out. So it wasn't like doing events when you have to stay long and you have to wait, and then you put the meeting signs up and all of these things. So I did go back a little bit. But then this other opportunity came up, and then I just took it. and that's it. But it's great. I mean, now I'm so grateful. Sometimes I think about it when I'm just driving around in that little van. Have you seen it?
Yeah. It's hard to miss. Let's put it this way.
So I think it's just so different. You know, I don't have to be in an office at 9 o'clock or 8:30. I don't need to stay there till 5 p.m. I drop my son to school. I go back home. I sit in my little office space. I do all my admin, whatever I need to do. And then I do my route. I go and get out and get the stock and do my deliveries.
How do you manage? So yeah, I guess that helps a lot, right? Because you can go in the morning, get your son to school, but then is there enough time after that to deal with everything else you've got, with doing a tasting, present the drink to a new business, come back, take deliveries, ferries here. You know, I think these are just a few of the things that you probably do among many others. But is there enough time? Do you feel like even with these, you know, on top of your life, is still better than when you were in hospitality? Is it still more manageable even with all these in your life?
Yeah, definitely. There are some, like when the ferry comes or when the pallet arrives, I have no control over it. So I'm normally the one who picks up the phone in the morning and chasing them what time they will bring the pallet. So because I'm trying to plan my day out. If it doesn't go as planned, because, you know, sometimes fresh food takes priority, obviously, which is fine. Like after the storm, for example, that was a big thing, which is fine. So I wouldn't have received my pallet till the afternoon, and that's fine. I'm trying to be flexible. So the only thing I need to do is the school pickup. But luckily, my partner is also self-employed. So we're quite fluid in this. So I will just, can you go and please pick up Luca today? And he will do that. So we're quite lucky to be able to do this.
That's great, because then you can move in between the two, and that should work.
But sometimes, you know, some days I do have quite a lot of deliveries, and depends on where they are around the island. It might take more than just a few hours to complete. So I would then stop, pick up my son, and then carry on with him in the van. So
he's probably seen the whole island from that van, right?
Yeah. He used to love it, and I think he still loves riding in it. But he just started saying, "Everyone's looking at us."
This is the whole point.
Like, yeah, of course. That's why we're using it. Yeah, that's the whole point, isn't it? I'm like, just smile at them, wave at them. It's okay.
Nice one. Yeah. So for people that want to find more about you, get in touch with you, where do they find you? Where are you most active on social media?
So we're on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, we've got 2 accounts, in fact. So we've got one for sort of Guernsey because they started that. But when I started, we started a new one for Jersey. So there's Ktea Kombucha and Ktea Kombucha Jersey. So you'll find the same content too, because there are some things that we share on both. But when you see something more like a real life event, that's definitely me posting it. I like
live from the location.
Yeah. I like doing things like this because, you know, it's not edited. It's not
raw. It's as it is.
Yeah, it's not a designed picture and stuff like that. So it's nice to show that part, I think. And then we're also on LinkedIn, which is quite a new account. So, but I want to keep that page for more business-related posts as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, LinkedIn seems to be growing rapidly,
Yeah.
and more people. I like it. I mean, I had an account for ages and I never used to post on it. And I'm like, it's such a missed opportunity because I met such an amazing people through LinkedIn, like genuinely in real life, like from Jersey, like meet them on LinkedIn and then meet them, you know, around the island. And I thought, let's continue with that.
Yeah.
Although I don't really have a very specific business approach to what I'm posting. I just feel like it can be taken almost with a pinch of salt. You can be a bit more yourself. As you said, it's almost like posting something like raw from the event without being too polished and too. It's just more about the message. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And I like it. At some point, actually, I was, funny enough, the way I started, like I was kind of posting video recipes on LinkedIn. so I just wanted to kind of experiment. For me, social media was always something that I wanted to see something crazy how it works, although the platform wasn't really specifically for that. But interesting approach to it.
Yeah, I was the same. I was on LinkedIn forever and not really using it. This is coming from a person who used to do marketing for years, but
But they're two different things.
Why we need so many different platforms, to be honest. I still don't understand. And then you just end up posting the same content across all of them, which is obviously generally the case with us too, because you have to, because there will be people who are quite, they are not on Facebook, but they are on Instagram or the other way around. So you just want everyone to see it, right? So then they can reach us on the website, so kteakombucha.com. And then if you click on the stockist list, you can see where you can get Ktea on both of the islands, but in Jersey here. So there's 50 odd places. Some of them are closed now or closing for the winter because it's that time of the year.
On the beach and
but loads of retail places now. So that's
you can
great.
order your own, I wouldn't even, to be fair, I wouldn't even bother, but I would give you more work then, to deliver it around.
That's fine. I'd love to have more. Always and forever. But this, if it's something that you drink a lot of, it definitely makes sense to order it or do a subscription because
you get better value for money.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not that expensive. When you see it in the shops or in cafes, it is obviously more expensive because they serve it and they put their own cut on it. But if you consume it for your own health benefits, or you replace your alcohol with it every day, or on the weekends you're gonna put rum in it, for example.
This is it.
It's definitely nice to have in the fridge, and I mean, I drink it every day, obviously. And can you feel anything different to your body because you drink it every day, don't you?
Genuinely. So what kind of like helps me with, which is something that I mentioned to Kate last time, is that I can happily. As crazy as it sounds for some people, I am genuinely not here now to make the sell or say about crazy things about this drink, but I replace a beer with a kombucha, and not once, like several times. So even from that perspective, I feel like that's amazing. So and I'm talking situation where we get, for example, because we do like Indian food, and I feel like it works really well with beer. But you know what? It works as well or as good, with kombucha. Let's say we get a pizza every now and then. It works with this as well. So I feel like whenever you feel like you need a beer, you can almost automatically replace it with a kombucha. So from that perspective, because I drink less alcohol, I think it's already amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the health benefits and everything else on its own. I'm just talking about replacing alcohol with that. I think is great. And I'm not saying, people that want to mix it with rum and all that, go for it. I'm just not really trying to mix. I don't really like things that are kind of like.
It's definitely the main use is definitely the alcohol replacement,
Honestly,
and it's by far the best because the flavor is so different. It's not another sweet drink. It really does work. It really makes you feel like you're drinking something alcoholic and you're not. And therefore, you obviously cut down on your alcohol consumption and you feel much better.
I like that part. I genuinely do like that part. And that's why I continue with it, because I'm like, okay, the price is like, you get a beer, you get a kombucha, similar prices. I'm like, I'd rather go for this. And even if let's say you pay a bit more, it's for your own good in the end, And I will have, don't get me wrong, I will have my beer every now and then, but I will have less than I used to. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's the same with me. I mean, I used to have a glass of wine every day while cooking dinner. Just gonna have this glass of wine while I'm cooking. That's great. But, you know, it really builds up in your system, like almost every day, having just that one glass. You can really feel it. And nowadays, I mean, I rarely have it. Rarely. It's just completely replaced it for me. And obviously I have easy access and a massive fridge room full of it. But even if I didn't, I would still drink it.
Well, this is it. Vivien, was an absolutely pleasure talking to you. And genuinely, same as with Kate, I think you are so passionate. I don't think Kate could find a better person than you know,
Thank you.
to do this. And she knows it. I mean, she mentions it. She knows it. And
she's lovely.
And the business, you know, it works so much better when you're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I can see that, you know, in what you do. And it's great. And we love it here.
Thank you.
Kombucha to the moon.
Oh, did you see today's post? It's
I've
actually
seen
on the
post,
bill.
yeah, on the moon. Yeah, you're right. There is the post about it survives on. I can't remember. Yeah, it was some sort of.
Yeah, so it survived everything, like all the harsh environment.
Yeah,
and,
that was about
unfiltered UV light and radiation. It survived all of that in space. So it's quite an amazing thing.
This is it. Yeah. So if we go to Mars, or at least on the moon for now, we know that we can take it with us. This is great. Perfect. Yeah, absolute pleasure. And I'm sure at some point, because the team will expand, the business will expand, and we'll have to talk more about it on the podcast. It will be absolutely amazing. And you're more than welcome, because we really love what you guys do there.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Amazing.
Thank you.